Well, hello. Welcome back to the Spread Effect Show. In this show, right here, I am interviewing my good friend Travis Smith. Travis hails from Columbia, Missouri. He also spends some time in Colorado. But him and I go back a long ways through the years where he's been an SEO consultant, he's done in-house SEO work, he's ran an in-house SEO team, he started and sold an SEO company, he's been a professor of SEO at the University of Missouri where he still does that. And now he is the founder of ContentAllStars.com. What is Content All Stars? Well, you're going to have to listen to the interview. You might have an idea if you think about how SEO has so much become content marketing these days here in late 2012. But Travis and I talk a lot about what has changed since we first started doing a project together back in 2006, and what has also stayed the same. A lot of people these days who were doing things right back in the day are still doing all right today. By that, I mean people who aren't spamming the search engines with crappy content or relying on tactics that aren't going to last for the long term. It sounds like when Travis talks about how he runs his campaigns with his clients these days, he's saying a lot of those things about focus on quality, build content for the long term, and a lot of things really haven't changed for those of us who have been doing it the quote-unquote right way ever since. So sit back, relax, watch me and a very sexy Travis Smith talk about SEO later. Well, welcome back to the Spread Effect Show. I am your host, Nathaniel Broughton. Today I am joined by my good old friend Travis Smith, the founder and owner of ContentAllStars.com. Travis, how you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you too, man. Good to see you in full color this time. So Travis and I go way back to days in Columbia, Missouri. A company called SoccerPro.com. We worked together on that. Travis was kind of led that whole project on the marketing side, and he had online marketing experience before even that, and that's about 6 years ago or something like that we first met and worked on that deal. So he knows his stuff. And I wanted to talk to him today a little bit about things he's seeing in his own projects and his consulting deals. What's changing. A lot of what we've talked about on the Spread Effect Show so far is just content and content marketing, how SEO has evolved, and we'll get into a lot of that with Travis because he's out there doing it every day, and I always like getting other people's insights. Sound good?
Right on.
All right, cool. Well, first of all, what do you think about when you hear the word content marketing, Travis? Because I know it's on everybody's lips these days in 2012. And, being someone who's been in the industry so long, I really respect your opinion about what it is, what it means, how it's changed into this world of content marketing. I mean, what do you think of when you hear those two big-ass buzzwords?
The VABs.
That's right.
It's being in the internet marketing space, we've always had this phrase that content is king.
Right.
And I think we try to kind of maybe avoid that being true and kind of skirt the system. But now it's pretty much a necessity. I mean, the algorithms have continued to update, and in the last year they've updated to the point that, in my opinion, if you don't have a solid content marketing strategy that includes original, unique content that's fresh, keyword specific, and high quality, then your success online is pretty short-lived and pretty limited, in my opinion, especially in search. And the thing with content marketing, the thing I tell clients is that it is basically the one ring that rules them all, if you will. So we have all these fancy tools in different mediums, social media, search, even offline like word of mouth and things like that. But the thing that holds all of those strategies together, all those tools and media together, is good content and a good message. Because you can throw up pay-per-click ads, but guess what? If you don't have good content on a landing page, you're not going to do very well.
Right.
Same with in social media. If you don't have good content to talk about, to promote, to create conversations, you're not going to do very well. And now it's true in the search algorithms, right? So not only on your site, but getting guest posts elsewhere. So it really is, to me, the glue that holds everything together, and it's become an absolute necessity.
How has it changed, like, your job, not your job, but I guess what you do for clients specifically? Because you're starting to mention a lot of these things where it's controlling the message and ensuring the content is high quality. I mean, what does that really come down to when you're in there hands-on with the client? compared to, what it used to mean 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. What does this content marketing mean when you sit down for, how it is 2012 versus 2009? What are you guys talking about? What are you telling those clients that they need to do, and how are you helping them?
Well, Nathaniel, you and I have always used content marketing for SEO, right? I mean, if we go back to the Soccer Pro days, we were getting guest blog posts then. This is like 5 or 6 years ago, right?
Right.
And we're still doing it now. And we did it back then because it was a good strategy and it was natural and we were ahead of the curve. I think there were still a lot of shortcuts,
Right.
that worked for getting links, right? And a lot of those have died off and will continue to do so. So guest posting and guest publishing is still works, at least in my opinion, my experience. And so the conversations I have now with folks, and one of the reasons I like that Google has forced us to conform to this, right, is that now I can make the focus of my engagements with people about the content. And it's become easier for me to sell SEO and deliver SEO because content is tangible.
Mm-hmm.
And it puts the focus on the tangible product or service and not the, something out in the stratosphere that they can't see. They don't know what we're doing. The rankings maybe aren't where they want them to be. But as long as our key deliverables are the content, I just find, it's easier to satisfy and deliver.
Sure. That was the buzzword that was in my head. The word was deliverables. I think that, this shift in perception has maybe changed what the deliverables are, and in a good way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, yeah.
Okay. So, you're talking about a lot of guest posting, and that's certainly a strategy that, we've employed for a long time and continue to do so in different forms. What about on-site content? Because another phrase that I think gets tossed around a lot with content marketing where things have gone is Google is forcing brands and businesses to become a publisher. And that means not only stuff off-site, but on-site as well. You want to ensure that you're creating domain authority for your website and your business by publishing high-quality, evergreen content on your site that can be shared, that can go through and be a page that can rank and bring in some long-tail search traffic. What are you doing on-site, and what does the new world mean to you as far as brands as publishers and content marketing for your own domain?
Yeah, good question. I'm glad you brought it up because I kind of just brushed by the on-site stuff. But really, again, the algorithm updates are forcing site owners to create fresh, unique content if they want to, continue to play the search game. And bigger sites have always done better, right?
Mm-hmm.
More pages, more content that's unique. Your site typically ranks better, requires more page rank, more links, and now it's becoming more of a necessity. And so, it used to be that a blog. In fact, I remember having a conversation with a pretty high-end business guy about 4 years ago, and I was talking to him about blogging.
Mm-hmm.
And in his mind, it was still a thing that like stay-at-home moms did for fun.
Right.
Right. And so I think really blogging has significantly changed in the mind of everyone online, and it's an absolute necessity for our clients. Like if you don't have a blog on your website, it's one of the first things we launch.
Right.
Because you're pushing out content, and the other thing is I've always said that good SEO is good for users and the search engines, and again, that's what content does, right? So you got to have something there on your site to make it sticky, to deliver value, to share your message, share your unique selling proposition, all those things. So.
What are you saying to your clients when they're asking about the value of the blog? I think you've touched on a few of those things here, where Google, is almost making it a necessity for you to have updated, real content on your site, and you want to have a voice on your site. Do you want to have a persona tied to that? I know with AuthorRank, having a Google Plus profile of someone who's creating a decent amount of that content on your site and also going out to another site, other sites and publishing is part of the strategy. But I'm just thinking trying to think like a small business owner, because I was hanging out with some last week and I think they were having a hard time coming around to, what does this blog really need to be? And, how are we going to accomplish it? Because they're busy doing other stuff. Maybe they have a marketing girl or an intern. Where do you come into play for getting that content published, and explaining like what the strategy is going to be, so they don't think of it like, oh, now we're just blogging on the side. I don't know what this is going to do for me.
Yeah. Okay, so there were a lot of things in there I want to remember.
Yeah, I'm not very good at keeping these succinct yet. This is my early days here.
Let's see. Um,
Pick one.
so, speaking specifically to small business owners,
There we go.
I mean, let's be honest. If you take your average Main Street business, it's brick and mortar, A, they probably don't have a blog.
Hmm.
And B, if they do, they probably last published on it like 6 months ago, maybe.
Right.
So, one of the things I've always said about search is that it's not about perfection. Good is good enough, and you only have to be better than your competitors.
Hmm.
So, the competition isn't that stiff, frankly, if you look at it from this perspective. So, while for some clients I might recommend publishing 10, 15, 20 articles a month, other clients maybe need 2 or 3, and that's very manageable for a Main Street business, in my opinion.
Right.
And frankly, 2 or 3 a month would be like, what is that, 30-ish a year, and that's probably 30 more than their competitor down the street.
I like that a lot, taking it back to the competitor.
Yeah. So that's what I tell them, and it's manageable too, right? Like it's again, it's tangible and deliverable, so they can see that going up. I totally agree with you that the quality needs to be there in terms of tone and personality. It needs to represent really who they are and the tone that they want to have in the marketplace.
Hmm.
That's key. And then also that the articles themselves need to be interesting visually too, like simple things like having a relevant photograph in every single post. I mean, that does like so much for the content, right?
Right.
So it's not that complicated, but the one thing I would say, and you brought this up, is in my experience, doing this in-house, if you are not a marketing company, is an absolute disaster. You need to outsource it. Because everyone, unless you specifically bring someone on board that the majority of their job is to generate content, and they're trained in it, and they know SEO, and they understand how the web works, then trying to do it in-house is just going to be a failure. They won't find the time, they won't know how to leverage it for traffic, and the list goes on.
Right. So in that vein, you're stressing the priority of having someone dedicated to this all the time, but also like stressing the value and what this really can bring to their business. I think some people, and it's amazing to me because it's almost 2013, are still questioning what the internet can do for their small business. They are used to, even the old days, just buying a set of ads in a couple of local publications or putting up a sign or whatever. And I think it's a different mindset to say that this is an ongoing competition between you and the other businesses out there, and this is what Google wants right here and now, and this strategy should also last for the long term. So it's important to invest in that with an outside company or someone in-house. And I mean, that's probably half the battle, if not more, is just getting to a point where you and the small business owner can see things eye to eye, and then really the actual deliverables and the work from there, that's almost kind of like a piece of cake.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And actually, this brings up one of the things you said reminded me of this. So, I just launched ContentAllstars.com in August, so it's a pretty fresh concept for what I'm bringing to the market. Not that you and I have been doing content marketing, forever,
Right.
But packaging it in that business identity is a startup. But one of the infographics, which by the way are great content, right? One of the infographics we're working on is called the SEO vaccine, SEO vaccination. And it's my breakdown on why content is, it basically creates immunity to algorithm updates.
Nice.
So, hope to roll that out real soon, and hopefully we can launch this interview in tandem with that. That'd be cool.
That sounds good to me. That's something you need to trademark right there, the SEO vaccine.
I bought the domain.
Well done. Well done. T-shirts are next. Okay. Well, that made me think of something too. We're putting out all this content. We keep talking about SEO and what that content can mean for SEO traffic, for rankings. When we talk about that, we mean we're trying to create content that will rank for other things and other people will link to. Social media also comes into play when you're talking about producing content, getting it out there, getting it shared, all that stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Specifically, I'm curious what you think about this. SEO is completely keyword driven, so you're going to be writing articles with keywords in them related to your services, your business, your brand. Usually, not everything you put out there is going to be like, I want to rank for this keyword, yay. But with the social aspect of it and wanting people to share stuff, headlines that are shareable aren't always headlines that are keyword heavy. How do you kind of play against that, and how does that come into the content you instruct clients to publish, or content that you publish yourself? Is it headlines geared towards keywords, headlines geared towards shareability, half and half? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, that is an excellent question. Headlines are probably 80% of the reason something gets shared, maybe more, or gets clicked on. And I know you know this, you've seen it in pay-per-click ads. It's the reason that someone picks up a magazine article off the newsstand in the grocery line. Headlines and titles are everything. I mean, it's how you pull people into the content. So, and it does need to be somewhat keyword relevant or specific. I have a little cheat system for this, and this is a freebie, right? But anyone that's listening, so if you want to get good at writing headlines, copy other people that are good at writing headlines.
Right.
And there are only so many formulas for writing a good headline in the world. Why reinvent the wheel? So what I do is I go to like magazines.com and look at, that will show you magazine covers for basically all the popular magazines on the newsstand. Those are some of the best headlines in the world. So you can take those and respin them for your own content. Take out certain words and plug in the words you need, and then you've got really good hooks. Because frankly, the alternative is that you spend years becoming a good headline writer, and it's doable and it's fun, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Right. I think that's a very good strategy, and I think I've heard other people say that a similar strategy can work. Certainly, like Copyblogger is a place to go and look for guidance on those things, and also some of his posts about how to come up with headlines. So
yeah, he has a really good. I think it's like a 10-article series on writing headlines. It's
yeah,
really good.
Go there, friends. You've probably already been there, actually. Anyway. So getting back to the articles that we're publishing on, on third-party sites, and especially on our clients' sites or your clients' sites, are you letting the headline drive the article? Are you letting the article drive the headline? And how are you playing off the need to work in a keyword versus the need to get something to share? Like, I'm curious, do you have an example of maybe one where you thought it was a perfect blend of each, or one where you chose to go one way or the other?
It's kind of a case-by-case scenario. Me personally, when I write articles, I have a general concept in my mind, but I never nail the headline until the article's done.
Okay.
Because I always find that writing it tends to morph into something of its own that I didn't plan on at the
Right.
beginning. Some writers are different, I guess, right? But that's how I approach my own writing. I don't have real solid answers for that. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't take a ton of creativity to spin a title into something keyword specific, or alter a paragraph slightly to make it keyword specific. I mean,
Sure.
That's pretty simple to do with little keyword exchange there. I think that answers the question.
Yeah, definitely. So that makes me curious, is if so maybe you've got a client where you're providing SEO consulting and strategy, and maybe they're creating the content. Are you sometimes inserting yourself then at the editing stage to ensure that, hey, here's a couple of good ideas for a headline, or let's tweak this to get the keyword right? Is that kind of how you set it up?
Yeah, if the client's doing the writing, we usually don't leave the editorial planning up to them.
Sure.
We do it.
Can't trust them.
Let generate it. Of course, we edit it too, but we like to have a lot of input on the content calendar.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about Content All-Stars and what your vision is for that for the long term. I mean, I know it's something very new, and I don't know, I'm just curious to hear more about it as a friend and as a person in the industry.
For sure, yeah, for sure. It's I think the long-term vision is just to build a massive team of content producers here in Columbia, Missouri. I mean,
nice.
It's a very talented town, and I intend to stay here for a while. So we, the realization I've come to and working with clients through the years is that no matter what I say to them about the importance of generating good content, they're not going to do it. So, and the algorithm updates have cooperated with me in stressing it as important. So, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do next, because frankly, I'm kind of just worn out with selling SEO. It's oversold, it's overpromised, it's underdelivered. The industry has become saturated with snake oil, and I'm tired of playing in that space as an individual. Even though, you know, guys like you and me can get it done all day long, you're still up against the mythical creatures, if you will.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I can totally agree with that, for sure.
I just said I'm going to put on a different hat and do it a little differently. At the end of the day, it's the same thing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the conversation and the perception around the industry is stale or unattractive to people who do it the way that we do. So I can certainly empathize with that, and I think that even with Spread Effect and what we're outwardly projecting as who we are and what we do and what our new client services look like, we're kind of along the same path. So I think it's natural for both of us to be headed that way. I wanted to ask then, so, you know, you and I have always talked about, not really like gurus, but just guys, like really guys, like accomplished guys, known authorities in internet marketing or in other spaces, in like life design and business. You know, I know we've always just talked about some of the guys out there that have books and people that we followed. You know, are you going to look to position yourself as an authority in the space of content marketing, kind of brand yourself personally and be out there with any educational or training products, or possibly just speaking at events, you know, Travis and then Content All-Stars behind him?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I would be somewhat of a charlatan if I didn't. But, you know, I have some record with that already. I mean, I teach search marketing at the University of Missouri. I've self-published a book on SEO. I've done, you know, some guest posting here and there, but I'm going to get more serious about it now. And there's a good possibility I'll be publishing a book on the topic in the next year. It's not finalized yet, but we'll see.
Cool.
But, you know, ultimately this company, ContentAllStars.com, we will be cranking out a lot of content, not only for clients, but for ourselves as well. So, yeah, I'm going to play in the sandbox.
Nice. No, it's good to hear, you know, and I think it's always important to back up your strategies, not only by showing case studies and other client examples or history of success, but in doing it with your own company and marketing yourself. Like, it's just part of the game. Sorry, I had a weird thing pop up on my Skype there.
Yeah, no, it's good. I really enjoy teaching, so it gives me an outlet to do that with this company. I'm actually pretty stoked about it.
I'm curious how much credibility that's brought to the conversation with clients. You know, I mean, being associated with a major state university obviously shows a lot of credibility for what you bring to the table and what you know about the content. And I mean, not just the content, but content marketing.
Yeah.
And also because I might be able to do the same thing soon myself. I mean, is that a nice feather to have in your cap? And what benefits have you had outside of clients and things like that?
Yeah, it's frankly closed a lot of deals.
Nice.
The thing, and this is the thing, right? Like, if you're an expert in your industry and if you own the business, you should be somewhat of an expert, most likely. Or you have someone in the business that is an expert. Then one of the best and oldest ways to position yourself as a key player in the industry is to generate content, whether it's, you know, spoken, written, whatever.
Video.
And yeah, it's a distinguishing, what am I trying to say, strategy. And again, the internet just keeps evolving to the point that it's making it not only...
There we go.
Yeah, there you are. Cool.
All right, sweet. So, I mean, where it cut off just a little bit there was, you know, when we were talking about, you know, kind of practicing what you preach and positioning yourself as an authority. You know, I think you had mentioned some of the other guys that you had followed in the past in other spaces and how that was going to be, you know, part of your strategy with Content All-Stars And maybe what are some of the talk a little bit more about that, and maybe what are some of the strategies you're going to use to get yourself out there even more than you already are now as a professor and as a published author.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to teach. It's a good credibility builder, but I do it also just for the satisfaction of helping students kind of find their way,
Mm-hmm.
And I do intend to write a book on the topic. I just don't know when it's going to happen. I mentioned before that I wrote the self-published book, and this time I want to have it published by a legitimate company. And I had a deal come up last year where I was invited to co-author a book with EntrepreneurPress.com, and we just got sidetracked, and frankly, it hasn't happened yet. So that may be the resurrection of that deal. The other thing that I'm doing differently this time, because I've had a search marketing company before, I'm actually going to go outside of, the passive lead generation or what happens online, and actually have a sales force on the ground targeting 4 different cities right now. So I'm pretty excited about that. Have a sales manager, and I just want to take this company to a new level.
Yeah,
so,
I'm excited for you, man. That's cool. It sounds like you're going to go big.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I had Rob Stretch on the show a couple weeks ago or recently, and we were talking about industry events because I'm always interested to hear, especially experienced people's, what events are tickling their fancy these days, and where to head to meet people in the industry, and also to maybe meet clients. And he mentioned the SEO Moz event up in Seattle. I think you guys were at that together. That one, and what else is kind of on your radar going forward?
You know what? That is a solid event. I could not evangelize for that enough. In the events that I've been to, both technical and non-technical, that one it's like top, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't go to a lot of massive events anymore. I do a lot more like private mastermind groups.
Mm-hmm.
4 people, 10, 15 people, that kind of thing. So actually, I'm curious what's on your target.
Well, I have a focus problem, so I'm going to mortgage events and God, who knows what else I've been going to. I went to the American Association of Private Lenders last week. I'm not much of a private lender yet, but I make sure some of the Spread Effect guys get out to those big dog ones. I mean, I still think that, definitely PubCon Vegas, SES New York, SMX in Seattle. I mean, a lot of these I think are industry standard ones for sure. We've started to hit some of the internet retailer events and some of the mobile conferences, web hosting conferences, just places where the whole topic of conversation isn't SEO or content marketing, and a place where you can just be a piece of an interesting conversation about a business growing one way or the other. And I think that's even a better play, especially if you're looking for clients. It doesn't make a lot of sense to be hanging out at PubCon to look for clients unless you're maybe on the speaking grid, or if maybe you're just like a vendor filling a specific need for other agencies or consultants. So we've been trying to go a little niche, and I don't know, we were at a small business event, just a regular small business event here locally last week, and it went really well actually, because it was just, the conversations were interesting because it was like they barely knew what content marketing was or what SEO was, but that's cool because you're getting out to a whole new audience. So
that's a really good point. I've done a number of those this year.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be anywhere from 20 to 40 small business owners in a room, and I just talk about some of the most basic things that you and I know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like they just love it. It's like candy. Good lead gen,
Yeah, totally is. So, well, let's talk a little bit about some personal stuff for a change, because I haven't got to do that yet on Spread Effect Show. I know you like Colorado and you spent some time out there. What's your setup out there, and why do you like it so much out in the mountains? Because, I agree.
It's a solid place. A couple things I really dig about Denver, because you're out in San Diego. I've been out there a number of times and just love it too, and it was on my radar. One of the reasons I got into internet marketing over 10 years ago was I love the concept of mobile work and remote work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at a place in life now where I can do that consistently. So I'm trying to get out to Denver every 2 or 3 weeks and stay, close to a week at a time. And it's working out real well. So I chose Denver because got two kiddos here in Colombia, and it keeps me still close to them. It's an easy flight. But really the cool thing about Denver to me is that it's one of the healthiest cities in America, if not the healthiest according to studies, whatever that means.
Right.
It's a really solid lifestyle. I mean, culture's good, the restaurants are awesome, you've got all kinds of activities outdoors. It's basically like so many of the good things you get in California minus the surfing. And it's closer to the Midwest, so I really dig it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's even if you had to do the drive, it's still doable, you know, in a day's time.
Yeah.
So, nice.
I drove the Jeep out there a month ago and went four-wheeling in the mountains, and that was just amazing. So,
wow.
Yeah, I can't quite drive to California.
That's true, that's true. So you getting a season pass out there this year? Gonna hop out?
Yeah, I'm going to get a season pass and probably spend most of my time at Breckenridge. But
nice.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll have to coordinate something then, because I'm looking to get a pass myself, and I need to hit some of those other mountains. I know B-Shore got me out to Keystone a couple times. That was nice. But
yeah, I think you and I went to Keystone.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. That was fun. We need to get out there with him as well. But well, cool, man. I'm excited for you to be able to, you know, have a little bit of that in your life, but also keep the base in Colombia. It sounds like you got things that are in a good place, and got some exciting new projects coming up. So it was good. Sure. It was good to catch up, sir.
Well, you've always been a key part of my inspiration.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Whenever you have your interview show, please have me on, and I can tell stories too. All right, well, very good. We look forward to the official launch of Content All-Stars and building that thing into a beast, and we'll try to coordinate this interview along with that too, and I appreciate you taking your time, Travis.
You're welcome, man. Thanks. It's good to talk to you again.
All right, bye.
All right. Take care.